Did you know? There is no way to scientifically test for a chemical imbalance. The same pharmaceutical companies, profiting from your suffering, rely on doctors making a small fortune for saying you're chemically imbalanced. Japanese war criminal being executed for waterboarding American POWs on the left. Bush and Cheney not being held accountable for war crimes right. This is how low we have sunk. Beagles forced to inhale toxic substances. Cigarettes, oven cleaner, hairspray, bleach and many other products are tested this way. The test is complete when 50% of the animals are killed. This determines the lethal dose of the substance. The leftover animals are either recycled into other experiments or are destroyed. Big Pharma is just a big cartel. Cocaine street value $20,000 a kilogram. Oxycodone street value $1 million a kilogram. Look, getting our way is simple. We do what we want. When it's war crimes, we blame the victims, and anyone who exposes us, we dub anti-Semitic. That is so true. Muammar Gaddafi, demonised by the West, but here are the facts about Libya under Gaddafi. Free healthcare, free electricity, interest-free loans, newlyweds receive $50,000 to find a home, mothers receive $5,000 on birth of a child, citizens received a percentage of all oil sales, and petrol was 14 cents per litre. Government paid 50% of the price of your car. Unemployed Libyans received the average salary for their profession in benefits. Now can you see why they had him murdered and destroyed Libya? Truth. Your air is toxic. Your food is poisoned. Your money is worthless. Your water is contaminated. Your politicians are criminals. Your police are gang members. Your soldiers are political pawns. Your government creates terrorists. And your media is conditioning you to blindly accept all of it as normal. RIP corrupt social worker 2019, and we are coming for you. No longer will we be silent. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Faces of forced adoption. Some of these social workers are the most evil pieces of shit on the planet. President Obama knowingly and willingly armed ISIS. Defense Intelligence Agency General Michael Flynn, which is of course treason. Any person who levies war against the United States or adheres to its enemies by giving them aid and comfort has committed treason within the meaning of the Constitution. The term aid and comfort refers to any act that manifests a betrayal of allegiances to the United States, such as furnishing enemies with arms, troops, transportation, shelter or classified information. If a subversive act has any tendency to weaken the power of the United States to attack or resist its enemies, aid and comfort has been given. Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution. And for treason in America, execution is still the punishment. Spot the difference. Jacob Rees-Mogg. We should be deeply ashamed in a civilised and rich society that 597 people died sleeping rough last year. Voted in favour of the bedroom tax. Voted to phase out secure tenancies for life. Voted against making homes fit for human habitation. Spare us your crocodile tears, you piece of shit. Starved 4 million Indians to death in 1943. Voted greatest Britain of all time. Winston Churchill was a war criminal. I just thought I'd put this in for the sake of it. You've got the Queen and with the Scalextrics Diana edition. Government sneak out 85 million cut to public health on last day before Parliament recess. Ministers accused of being cowardly by avoiding debate. Funding for public health service like sexual health clinics and mother and baby support have been cut by 85 million in an announcement sneaked out by ministers on the day that last day of parliamentary term. The slashing of grants for councils will affect community and prevention services, also including stop smoking clinics, schemes to tackle obesity and drug and alcohol misuse, service for children and young people. The grants are being cut by nearly £2 per person to 3.134 billion, a 3.3% fall in just 1 year, Health Minister Steve Bryan confirmed on Thursday. The news came the same day it was revealed an estimated 597 homeless people died in 2017, a massive 24% increase on the last 5 years. And remember that piece of shit that said there's no one dying in the streets? And it came in an avalanche of 12 written ministerial statements published by the government on the last day of the parliamentary term, when most MPs have already returned to their constituencies, prompting accusation that the government was being cowardly. An end to austerity, the lying bitch said. The press ruins Christmas for former drone suspects. A man and woman arrested and then released over the Gatwick drone incident have been ill-treated by an incautious media. What I see this as, this is a way to cut the media from reporting stuff, because they'll use this as an excuse of why the name shouldn't be reported until they're found out, and that's normally what happens anyway. But for in this case, instance, it was all over the tabloids. Smell something? I do. Ex-Pakistani PM sentenced to 7 years in prison by Accountability Court report. Last year, Nawaz Sharif had to resign as Prime Minister after the Supreme Court disqualified him from holding public office amidst a corruption case against him. And that pretty much sums up politicians. They're all corrupt. UK taxpayers funded Pakistani death courts as they handed down blasphemy law sentence. See, our government are a bunch of criminal bastard treasonous. Teenager arrested over city centre hit and run after police Agbirth Road swoop. Now, there'll be a link at the end of this. This looked like a deliberate attempt to run these lads over. The car comes along, stops, waits till they walk into the road, and then runs them over, and one falls under the wheels again. I'm surprised he's not dead. If you've not seen it, you probably don't want to watch it, because it was terrible. A teenager has been arrested in connection with its shocking hit and run in Liverpool city centre, which saw 2 men knocked down this morning. I think it was about Friday, I think. Shocking footage of the incident. Yeah, you don't really want it. It was 2:45 AM on Christmas Eve. Theresa May is hitting out at a second referendum because she knows it's inevitable. But what you would take from that, a second referendum, is there's no point. We've had a referendum and we voted to leave. And we haven't left. We've not come even close to leaving. It's treason by that bitch and the whole of Parliament. UK housing crisis. Half of all new homes will go to migrants. Now this is, of course, to divide and conquer. That's all this is about. But you've got to know about it. Almost half of new houses built in the UK over the next 5 years will go to migrants, meaning an extra home will need to be constructed every 5 minutes. I'm sick and tired of that bullshit. The United Nations is turning a blind eye to child rape within its own ranks. Google UN sexual abuse and see just how much comes up and from how long it comes up. See for how long Kofi Annan, Ban Ki-moon and now Antonio Guterres have been saying something must be done. United Nations is satanic. Anyway. The cancer fighting benefits of beet juice. This is beetroot. It is absolutely fantastic for you. Get it down you. Beetroots have been used as a treatment for cancer in Europe for centuries. The modern interest is using beetroot as a treatment for cancer started in 1920s when two German doctors by the name of Fabers and Schorgenberger used beetroot to treat cancer patients. In the early 1930s, a Hungarian professor carried out experiments to show that beetroot improved the health of cancer patients. So how does beet juice help to kill cancer cells? Beet juice helps to detoxify as well as protect our cells with much needed, easily absorbed nutrients and oxygen. Why drinking water first thing after waking up has huge health benefits. Now the link's in the description, not to go on about this, but I have a drink of water every morning when I get up as well anyway, so it's good to know I'm doing something right. Turmeric and honey, the most powerful antibiotic that not even doctors can explain. Conventional antibiotics are extremely overused according to the US Centre for Disease Control, CDC. A whopping 833 antibiotics are prescribed on average per every 1,000 people. These antibiotics are making us very sick. In fact, most health problems can be successfully treated with a few natural remedies such as honey and turmeric. Again, links in the description, but turmeric is fantastic, particularly if you mix it with black pepper, because the black pepper makes the turmeric 2,000 or 20,000 times more bioavailable, which means it's absorbed into your body quicker and easier and helps to fight everything, including cancer. Elderly man with terminal cancer walks out of hospice after treatment with cannabis oil. But do you remember what Theresa May said? There's no medical benefits to cannabis. Stan found cannabis after chemo and radiation almost killed him. And that's what chemo and radiation does. Chemo was developed from mustard gas. And they're giving you that as treatment. Anything else that had over 97% fail rate wouldn't be allowed. But it's one of the only treatments that under the current criminal medical system that can be prescribed. European Union on verge of collapse. Again, I'm not going to read that one. If you want to read it, the link will be at the end. Hungary hits back at FT. Soros, an enemy of democracy, not person of the year. I would agree with that. The Hungarian government has hit out at the Financial Times, naming George Soros their person of the year. More like a traitor to humanity. Jeremy Corbyn told supporting Brexit could cost Labour seats. More bullshit from the socialist twat. Activists and allies concerned by plan to back EU exit even in event of snap election. Momentum activists and MPs for Labour left who have consistently backed Jeremy Corbyn have warned the leader's decision to support Brexit even in the event of a snap election could demotivate campaigners and cost the party seats. Well, we shouldn't have any more parties at our expense. Parliament needs to be shut for good. Thailand approves medical cannabis. Thailand's parliament has voted to approve cannabis for medical use, with a key lawmaker calling it a New Year's gift to the Thai people. Recreational use will remain illegal. Marijuana was used in Thailand as a traditional medicine until it was banned in the 1930s. Big Pharma. Got a lot to answer for. France prepares last resort chemical weapon that can be smothered around Paris to keep yellow vest rioters away from key buildings as anti-Macron protests continue. French security forces could smother centre of Paris with debilitating powder. Chemical can be spread across the area of the size of 6 football pitches in 10 seconds. Police desperate after 5 weeks of yellow vest rioting around France. Paris alone saw 168 arrests and police were using water cannon, batons and tear gas. When your government is using chemical weapons, water cannons, batons and tear gas against you, it's time to remove your government. Or if they're just a bunch of paedophiles, which is what the riots are about, because they know that their government is like our government, full of paedophiles and sex abuse, child raping, scum-sucking bastards. Family's horror as rapist who attacked 2 children is freed from jail after just 3 weeks because he's too vulnerable in prison, despite victims' fear they will bump into him in their village. A teenage rapist who attacked 2 children was jailed for 1 year. His year-long custodial sentence was slashed and he was released after 3 weeks. The parents of the 2 victims have said they were shattered over his release. The Crown Prosecution Service said the attacker was vulnerable in prison. What about the children who have been vulnerable that he raped? The CPS needs to go. Falls prevention cuts would be legalised homicide in Walsall claim. It feels as if they are simply trying to get rid of elderly and disabled people who use such services. It's part of the New World depopulation agenda. Tourists hit by French strikes. Well, not surprising, is it? I'm a veteran and I am due the respect of a veteran. Judge tells blind World War II hero 97 he cannot go home for Christmas despite the pensioner's desperate plea. The blind former Royal Navy gunner wanted to leave a care facility and go home. The WW2 veteran had already lost 2 previous cases to go back home. A High Court judge, criminal, said he wanted to make a decision on the case next year. The veteran will be represented in the High Court by 2 lawyers on January 16th. And look at the smug, smiling bastard dressed up like Satan, because they are satanic. Ex-chief advisor for the UN's child labour programme arrested for paedophilia. It's rife throughout anywhere. If it's anything to do with children, you'll usually find those that are involved are paedophiles. And America is just as bad. Tennessee governor grants clemency to 11 people, Setona Brown not included. Now, she was a sex slave and she killed one of the blokes that was abusing her, and she got sent to prison for it. Rather than the sex rapist getting sent to prison, she got sent to prison, and they've not given her clemency, which is a crime against humanity. Very low sentences for African migrants after bloody gang rape of 13-year-old girl in Sweden. They want it to happen. They are allowing it to happen. Governments need to be gone. 65-year-old Swedish woman sentenced to prison for criticising Islam and migration. Can you see? It's all the governments are against the people. The men, women, children, they're against you. They're for migration. Or invasion, as it should really be called. Daily Fail. Peace and goodwill, Kate and Meghan's parasitical scum are in nearly every paper. Exclusive, 157,000 emergency cases, including heart attack victims, wait at least an hour for 999 crew. So, just what does it take to get an ambulance? Get rid of the government, get rid of the parasites in the NHS, and everything will run smoothly. The Guardian. Revealed scale of sexual harassment in the police. The backlash I got from colleagues has put me off the idea of reporting it again. And that's how they like it. Indonesia tsunami, I'm scared to see the ocean now. Parasite duchesses lead the way as royals mark Christmas at Sandringham Church. Anything but independent. Trump's Syrian plan is fraught with risk. Yeah, pulling the troops out. Oh, it's fraught with risk, that is. Gatwick farce shows media shortcomings. The new class of lesbian cinema. Are we becoming less materialistic. Praying for peace in Bethlehem. Stolen UK identities selling for 10 quid online. Criminals boast about taking out loans using hacked details. The tell-lie graph. Calorie cap for ready meals and restaurants. Because you're not capable of making an informed choice yourself of what to eat. So we're going to make sure we make the decision for you. Because you're quite clearly an idiot. Or that's what they'd like you to believe. Parasites with a smile. Hunt secures an injunction against Boxing Day saboteurs. Oh, it's fox mauling. Disgraceful. Record 40 migrants try to cross channel as boat gangs target Christmas lull. Wasted paper star. Playing nicely. Football. Brits in 5 billion frenzy will sink 50 million pints and place 100 million bets. Dip, dip, hooray. Well, that's an absolute waste of paper. I don't know why anyone buys that piece of shit. Express. Get set for 5 billion dash to the sales. That's fake news. It's a lie. They don't know how many is going to go to the sales. If anyone's going to the sales. If everyone's got any money left to go to the sales. Fury at huge salaries for health officials. Rise of nanny state fat cats. Christmas peace for the parasites. Mirror. Duchess all smiles. Parasites again. Happy Sismas. Apprentice stars badly beaten up. Parasitical scum in nearly every paper. I'm sick of hearing about them. Queen's call for unity and respect. Treasonous lizard. Living with MS, hardship and hope. Tsunami death soars. A grand year for the pop charts. Klopp, strap yourself in for the title race. Cash offer to save the high street. Towns across country invited to bid for share of 675 million fund to stop the rot of build modern vibrant communities. Bargains come early for shoppers, but stores report weak trading. But I thought it was going to be a 5 billion mega trade. Yeah. Fake news, like I said. The Times. Parasites. Philip misses Sandringham church service. Should be in jail. Scourge of plastic bags for life. Supermarkets hand out 1.2 billion heavy-duty carriers. Environment-friendly scheme fails to cut waste. Stock market slump. Hunt open to attack. 40 migrants rescued. Should be sent back immediately. Erdogan warms to US. Threat of shale gas. Enjoy ride, says Klopp. Shale gas is unlikely to be viable in Britain unless limits. Don't want any shale gas because it's just a way of destroying the water table if you look into it. And of course they're also fracturing the under the ground, so the water is then leaking from the water table into the mines where they just happened to bury radioactive material.